Good evening, folks. Triple Crown here, coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a round 11 summary of the Global War 1939 series. Well, I'm going to get into why we're going to call the game in round 11, and that is because over here in Paris, the Allies just do not have enough to recapture it. So the Germans came in and wiped out all of the Allied forces, and they came in with 21 aircraft and over 50 ground units, a lot of them being medium and heavy armor, including the Mark IV, Mark V, and Tiger tanks. And this is what remains of the stack that came in. The Germans did roll quite well, and you can see this. There's 4 Tiger tanks remaining. That is 8 Panzer Vs. These are rolling at 8 and 9s, and also you got some Panzer IVs. And look at this stack of Panzer IIIs. That's almost 20 tanks there. Also some Stug tank destroyers, and the Allies, which they wanted to take it back. And if they could, I might have kept the game going, but they just, this is after they reinforced, and I rolled out England, and basically all they did was they didn't even get into the armor. And the Americans had a follow-up, and they were going to get wiped out as well. So the fact that the Allies would not be able to recapture Paris, despite landing what they did, the Americans would be landing another 18 units next turn, and the British another 10, but it's just not enough. Over here in Marseille, the Italians have 46 ground units defending Marseille, and northern Italy, they've got another stack of another 30 units just sitting there waiting to go on. They're just building 10 infantry a turn and just shucking them into Marseille. And so the Allies are going to have to pour absolutely everything into Paris to take it. And there's also another problem. Now this is this currently sitting in Western Germany, and that's the Luftwaffe. That's all actually in Western Germany. That's 2 medium bombers, about 8 or 9 medium bombers, and then the jet fighter, the Me-262, and all their veteran fighters and Stukas, and plus a whole other new build of fast armor that's ready to counterattack. So that's a problem. What also the Germans did this turn, because the UK has about 40 IPP to spend per turn. So the the Germans came in and took Liverpool and Scotland. I think there's a move called the double Scotch where you, when you're preempting sea line, that's what you did, but they actually took the middle territory and Liverpool and also Scotland. And what that does is what the Germans, why they wanted to do that is because the major factory in Liverpool automatically actually the British took it back, so the factory now is gone. The factory downgrades from a major to a minor, and when the British took it back, the factory disappears. So that means in the UK, the British can only build 10 units per turn, and what the Germans were going to do next turn was they were going to start bombing the factory here in London with all of their air force. So that means the British are going to be hurting in a big way. So that is a problem for the British, and I don't think they're going to be able to overcome that. The Italians just by themselves are making 48 IPP. The Canadians are making 15. That is a little bit of a help to the Allies, but not enough. And the battle here in Africa for Cairo, we're going to back up a little bit. That's currently what's going on. And the Italians, they still have their naval transports. So they are going to be able to shuck guys over if they need. They're also going to be able to build 3 units per turn in Tobruk, and another 1 unit here at their military base in Cairo. With the South Africans, even though they're making 8 IPP a turn, they're only able to produce 1 at their colonial factory here and another at their military base in the Belgian Congo. So that is a problem. And the South Africans did build a submarine, but I just knocked it off the board. It's on the floor right now. And so the Allies are going to have to pour absolutely everything into the Atlantic, and I believe they can only, if they can, maybe take Paris. And over here in the Pacific, the Japanese are making about 120 IPP, the Americans 110. So even if the Americans went full Pacific, are they likely going to be able to take back Hawaii? There's now a military base there, and the Japanese, you can see all their aircraft. They've got 11 aircraft there, and they could fly in a bunch more. They can also build a fortification there and just make a world of trouble for the Americans. And that is if they are able to achieve naval superiority, which currently it's about a standstill. And the Australians wanted to help, but as soon as they build anything on the water, it is going to be wiped out by this Japanese fleet that's just parked itself off of the coast of Australia and New Zealand. So anything here that's placed is dead. And the Japanese are just sitting there waiting, so they can build aircraft, they can build whatever they want. And so I'm kind of not glad, but the Allies have won most of the games up until this point in time. And you can see here, there's only a few Russians left over here in China. The Germans are now getting ready to go into China. They've got about 7 armor there, and they are now able to build up here in Novosibirsk. And they're building 3 units a turn. There's no Russians left up here. And that is, there's a couple of Russian tactical bombers left, and the KMT is not able to take out this Japanese horde that's sort of trickling in turn by turn, just inching along. And so they are better for defense, and that's basically the only role they're going to be able to play for the rest of the game. So that's not a problem. So the Allies are not going to be able to make much hay in the Pacific, particularly if they go Atlantic, and if they go Pacific, that means the Germans are probably going to be pushing the Allies off the continent of Europe with the Italians and then threatening sea line. As it sits for victory points, the Axis have, I'm going to zoom in here, Berlin, Tokyo, Rome, Shanghai, Warsaw, Singapore, Hong Kong, Calcutta, Leningrad, Manila, Moscow, Stalingrad, and that's the 12th there, that red line you can see dividing the white. And these are the 3 that put them up to 15, Cairo, Paris, and Honolulu. So the Allies are going to have to take not only 2 of those back, which is very unlikely, but they are going to have to take a third. And I very doubt they're going to be able to take Cairo back. So that is it, folks. We're going to call the game here. And I would say the Allies had a chance, and they made some tactical errors. I was acting, solo, and what maybe would Hilltop Pillbox do? Of course, I'm not Hilltop Pillbox, and I did try some things as the Allies, backing out of Moscow for one, and if the Russians had just decided to build up at their factory in Novosibirsk instead of trying to build fast movers to go for Calcutta, there might have been able to be a stand here in Novosibirsk and push back. Also, the British losing their navy down here off of the coast of South Africa, which they probably should have won that naval battle, but dice were not on their side. And the Anzac fleet here attacked the transports and 3 destroyers, and there was a scramble from the Japanese, and they did not roll well there. So there is basically no threat from the middle of the earth, from the Russians, from the South Africans, from the Far East Command. They're wiped off the board. So thanks for watching, folks, and stay tuned. I'm going to hopefully be posting some more Global War 1939 content coming to you very soon.